Lanham earlier in this program today, as someone who hasn't played that many heroes recently. If you add Kaka and Faith's hero pool together for 707C, it's 16 heroes between them.
Well, Roger
not
only
many
played
either,
10,
right? Yeah, so it's not.
You don't have to play that many, though.
No.
I think, Cap, you were making this point on the panel earlier.
Yeah.
Like, there's such a thing as your hero pool doesn't need to be huge. It just needs to be big enough that you can't ban everything.
Also, this patch is like pretty miserable, I think, to play some supports. More the 5 position than the 4 position, but I think they're like, there's very clear, in my head when I'm looking at like especially 5s, but even 4s, there's like a very clear like, these are the good heroes, these are the bad heroes. Right. And you only dip into the bad heroes when it's a really good game for that bad hero.
So can I ask you, Cap, really quick, how much support Naga have you seen recently?
Not very much. Every single time.
This
like,
hero is really only being picked in China. I've seen a couple SEA games with it right now. It's actually 23-8.
I saw some European games
over the last month. Oh yeah, there've been, but it's still mostly China that are. Yeah. If it's first phase banned, it's almost always going to be a Chinese game.
This is a 4 Naga.
A 4 or 5 position Naga. She's 23-8 over the last month, but for whatever reason, most of the Western teams have been very slow to pick her up.
Yeah.
So do you think this is the thing that's going to catch on?
It's the same as the SD, isn't it? Back end of last year, when China were picking SD pretty much every game. No one in the West was, and then it slowly made its way, and it never really picked up, did it?
I mean, I definitely think there's going to be some crossover. Like, for example, I think one of the best 5 positions right now is Chen.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And I think that like the Western scene has been picking up Chen. If we actually get to see a team that starts dominating with Chen, it'll bleed over to East. And I think same with Naga Siren. Yeah. Like if one of the Chinese teams manage to get their hands on it, because I do think both those heroes are really good. Naga Siren just inherently provides some things that just like many other heroes don't, like a game-changing team fight. Ultimate, like that's really awesome to have from your support position, to be able to give you that kind of security and sometimes clarity in a team fight when things get chaotic and you're able to just hit that R button.
Yeah, that reset
laning phase, really strong hero like an ogre, just being able to get up in the face. Lockdown, really important right now. Like everyone is so fast, right? Everyone's getting drums. Agility heroes have extra movement speed. We're their movement speed talents. So when you have a really good lockdown, like the Ensnare provides for you,
and it's
really great to have.
Anytime you have a support with a BKB pursuit disable on a short cooldown.
Yeah.
Maybe go for the tiny first pick.
That's a little bit surprising to me on a newbie.
Not so.
Although they've done it in their last, they did it in their last game. They lost to Vici.
Yeah, and something they've done a huge amount though, is it?
I think Tiny's great.
Yeah,
fully back.
What Gods had sort of done to sell me on Tiny is to point out how good. I had not realized just how good a 1v1 laner Tiny was in this patch. Like that he can 1v1 against a Tidehunter.
You're not an offlane player, are you? Oh boy, I could tell you days and nights all about this Tiny hero. This guy's pretty dumb. I mean, and there's the versatility, right? It's like you can still run it as offlane, you can still run it as a 4 position. Yeah. You get good Tinies on 4 position, they actually demolish because they run in behind you, they toss you forward. Like it's no other support is going to be able to do that to you, right? So
the Ench has been getting more popular. LFY bring out that with the Brew.
Yeah. I think Brewmaster is probably one of the better heroes to be disruptive against the Tiny safe lane, and they've got this combination of Enchantress, which is a very potent duo that's going to be up in your face. Now, we don't necessarily know if it's going to be Tiny safe lane, but it does at least put a lot of pressure on that safe lane, guaranteed.
Yeah.
I think Newbee may actually have to switch it. Alan, do you know if they've played Tiny in
they have not.
Other positions?
No.
Okay. So
it would be a KP Tiny.
Hopefully they do have that versatility, in which case they could do something like, Razor safe lane and demolish this concept that LFY are going for.
Yeah, I'm super on board with a Razor safe line. I think that's like if you think that heroes that are in the Mugi wheelhouse, it's the Razors, the Bloodseekers, the sort of self-sustaining heroes that can really that can get sacked in a lane and still get a lot out of it.
Yeah, because they don't really have like by picking up the bounty hunter. That for me is like the question mark, because you see this potential threat and you pick up a hero that's not going to be able to deal very well with that threat when it comes to laning phase, right? Bounty hunter doesn't give you that presence. as a laner, and I don't think any one support possibly matches the aggression of a Brewmaster in lane and an Enchantress rotating it. So I think they do really need to get that Tiny out of that safe lane if possible.
Yeah, if you think about it, the only times that you see Tinies just definitively get crushed in lanes are when he ends up in a safe lane solo against a strong duel, and that actually does have the potential to happen here. I'm actually quite stunned that you're not seeing one of the Chinese team's first phase Lycan. Lycan was on the table here in the first phase for both sides, and they're passing that up.
Yeah, that's Lycan's out of control right now. That is surprising to me. The Batrider's good choice here by LFY. It's a strong offlaner that gives you it's like good versus Enchantress as well as Brewmaster. You need the superior initiation. Man. Oh, I guess they banned Clockwork in the first 1-3. I didn't notice that by LFY because I was again going back to that Bounty Hunter and just going like, why don't you pick up a hero that's more effective versus Brewmaster and Enchantress?
Yeah.
But Clockwork's banned, so.
No, I think you definitely do that with an eye toward the blue, and also you want to take the Clock SF combo off the table for SCCC.
That combination's so stupid.
It really is. It's actually like it's crazy. It's like a 60%, over 60% win rate.
When it first started coming in, like you started seeing teams like they left it out, and then the 3-4, you would see like one team take the Clockwork, and the other team had to take the SF as a result, and then we just naturally progressed into that being an opening 1-2 combination.
I'm actually mildly surprised. I mean, okay, so it's against SCCC, so that's probably the only time that you ban the Queen of Pain right now. Queen of Pain has been awful in this patch. She's below 40% win rate. She's been arguably the least successful hero that's been picked. I think she is the least successful hero that's been picked 100 or more times in the patch.
Wow.
I mean, she's just in a horrible, like, my theory right now is that to be a successful 1 or 2 position, you have to hit towers. And there's precisely one to 2 position hero in this meta that I can think of that has a better than 50% win rate that doesn't hit towers, and that's OD. Otherwise, like all of your Pucks, your Queen of Pains have win rates well below 50%.
Yeah, and then that's probably just more of a matchup thing, right? Is that people aren't picking OD by itself. They're always picking in response to...
It's a 5th pick when, like, it's a 5th pick for a lot of the Chinese teams, for example, when they already have like 2 pushing supports or something like that.
Yeah, you're dealing with a Terrorblade or a Dusa on the enemy team or something.
Yep.
It's such a hard counter.
I like the Bane, still very solid. It's fallen off a little bit recently, but very safe pick here.
It further secures your lanes really well because the Bounty Hunter is not going to have a tremendous effect now on that mid lane. If Bane's sitting there, you get like one self-sufficient core at this point in your safe lane, and I think the Bounty Hunter's just like SOL. He can't actually have an impact when it comes to the harassment game. That's my problem with Bounty Hunter. As a support picked up early right now is that I don't feel like you can just look really lackluster in the laning phase with all these tanky core pickups and some supports that are hard to interfere with as well. Yeah. But you can also get some significant advantages if you say have like a Tinker on your team with the Bounty Hunter. There are certain ways to overcome laning disadvantage.
If this goes to form for Newbee, yeah, okay. So there was going to be 1 of 4 heroes. This is one: Disruptor or Ogre for Faith, or Sand King or Spirit for Kaka. Newbee's actually only played Bounty Hunter twice this patch, and Faith lost with it, and Kaka lost with it. And I'm not necessarily seeing. You talk about Disruptor and his strengths. One of them is not as a laning support. And I am not feeling this Bounty Hunter Disruptor combo in the laning phase against Enshin Bane at all.
But if they do get, if they do end up getting like the Razor safe lane or something, then Disruptor looks very good for your laning phase situation, and I think it does answer the Brewmaster and Enchantress. Okay.
I don't know. I think you're right. I think that Razor can do okay in that situation, but I still don't view it as like incredibly favorable. And I just think Newbee have put themselves in the position with these first 3 picks where they're sort of drafting to stay alive. They're trying not to get outdrafted rather than trying to win the draft at this point.
That DK seemed to have confused them a little bit.
I mean, it's funny. They're probably saying, "Wait a minute! I thought Super left the team because Super's the DK player."
Indeed.
They're like, "Wait a minute! We didn't ban we banned Death Prophet still, but we didn't bother banning DK because Super's not on the team anymore."
We didn't get a chance to talk about the Super OP thing, but my one question in the draft aspect of that is: do they continue to draft the way that they want around the team and hope that OP can play what they want him to play, or do they redraft around what he likes to play? Because what he likes to play is not necessarily what Super likes to play.
I mean, I think that's a question that you find out the answer to that question over time. That's not a question that you answer right away when you draft.
How do you deal with it initially? What do you do? Which way do you draft? Do you draft for him because that's hopefully what you'll all get used to, or do you draft? Do you hope that he fits around you?
I mean, this is a question that I feel like I should like email Sebastian, right? Email Mad right now and ask him that question. But I'm always a proponent of you draft with what 4 players are comfortable with and ask the 5th to adapt rather than asking 4 to adapt to 1.
Yeah, that's how I figured it would be. I'm sure Charlie's at home right now just shouting out, "Red Eye, you noob! I've told you the answer to this so many times!"
So, and by the way, Cap, there's the Razor ban.
Yeah.
So there's going to be the OD, and again, you're sort of backed into a corner at this point.
I think they juke this. I've been looking at this LFY 4th pick Dragonite, and I don't think it was ever planned to actually go mid. I think they may juke it out and get themselves a different mid.
Well, but but when we've seen that in the past, it's been. So what, do you think that this is a 4-position brew in that case? No, this is really good. I think this is a mid DK and do you think this is a safe lane Dragonite and a mid troll?
I mean, that would be the idea, but
I think this is a mid DK. OD does not win the mid matchup against DK as nearly as hard as I thought. Like I've seen that matchup played a couple times at high levels recently, and the DK does better in that matchup than I thought. Partially because I think players have gotten better at playing it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely DK mid now.
I have not liked what I've seen from LFY so far in this DPC season, but I like this draft a lot.
Why do you like their troll so much?
I feel the synergy with the Enchantress, the synergy taking down towers with DK when he pops Elder Dragon form. I think he kills tier 1s super fast. If Newbee ever rotates, I think DK can just kill towers so quickly. I don't know. I feel like Newbee's gonna have a hard time protecting their towers in this game. Okay.
I'm going to go with Newbee here. Okay. I like the OD last pick. I'm not sure about the troll. I haven't seen a whole lot of troll, and I'm not sure. Like, all I'm thinking about is this low intelligence and the hammer that gets dropped. But, I mean, that's like a very small point, right? But something about it is like, I don't know. I like the OD more.
All right, okay. A bit of a difference of opinion here on the panel. Let's find out what our commentary team make of this one. It could be an even match, could be a classic as well. LFY versus Newbee. It's all yours, boys.
Thank you very much, Red Eye. And yeah, LFY versus Newbee. Close one potentially. We did see 2 Chinese teams earlier go against each other, VG versus VGJ. For the majority of that game, it was pretty much neck and neck. Between these 2 sides, what are you reckoning, Volt? Is there a side that you say you give the edge at the moment in this current?
Newbee's playing versus a Chinese team.
Yeah.
Have to give the edge to Newbee. And LFY just switched their player, right? They just switched Super out.
But could that be a good thing? I mean, a lot of people said, recently LFY, the way that they've been performing with Super has definitely not been anywhere near sort of the peak that they've reached in the past. It was on a bit of a decline. Maybe this sort of change is going to give them a kickstart. But
I do think so, but they did go back. They're like, even with, they don't have Super, but they picked the Dragon Knight.
They do. Maybe they forgot. Like, they forgot they made a change.
They're like, wait a minute, Super's not here anymore, guys. What's going on? Wait a minute.
But we'll see how OP can fit in.
I do feel like the well, I'll give my 2 cents since the other guys did. I do think the Radiant squad, I feel like they lack damage. That's the one thing for me. It's like in the mid game, they lack damage and they lack a catch, right? They pretty much need this Bane to be in position to catch these heroes over and over again. But there's a lot of ways for them to stop the Bane.
That's true, yeah.
Disruptor, OD can even put people under. Yeah. Shuriken.
30 seconds to battle.
Yeah, it can be very nice. And then there's a combo that's I'm assuming is going to actually end up happening later on with the track, the way track works with Hurricane Pike on OD. He's going to track somebody, this guy's got a Hurricane Pike, and they're going to get so many stacks up in these fights. But we'll see if they can get to that point. I did like the point that Alan was saying, how that they can actually play around the Elder Dragon form and take down some towers. But we'll see if they can.
Yeah, the DK Troll combo can certainly push at an incredible speed. But it is the DK Troll combo. We don't really see that much Troll. We see how Monet's talking about it. Not the greatest of starts, as Monet will be the first to fall. Kaka gets the first blood, and Newbee will be able to secure both of those bottom runes. Up top, though, Mugi being body blocked up very nicely by Flame. Farfu to do a lot of damage to this Tiny. So they didn't quite get the kill. Not really willing to die. Salve is there for Mugi, but nice little way for Newbee to start there with that easy kill down bottom. Yeah, and this is what a lot of things that we talk about with Newbee is when Kaka has a good game, Newbee has a very good game, and that's accelerates him to a good start getting first blood. And so he's just going to put a lot of pressure. They're doing like an aggro tri-lane to pressure the troll, it seems like, from LFY, or from Newbee. And how much can a Bane do against sort of that sort of aggressive laning on the side lanes? Is not a whole lot. Yeah, not a whole lot. It's tough, isn't it? He just kind of has to just baby the guy to make sure he can get some far. But now again, Monet should be brought down here quite easily. Oh my goodness, Newbee indeed off to a cracking start, and Kaka will be able to keep himself just alive as well. I mean, this already looks like it's got the potential to become a massive issue. Like, how do you react to this if you're LFY? As you said, you have a Bane down here, but there is very little he can do against sort of these three heroes running at the Troll. I think you just have to wait till Enchantress gets 2 creeps. Yeah. I think that's the key. Troll can't even TP back to the lane now because he used it before, so now he's on the Walk of Shame. And this Tidehunter is going to be very tanky. Yeah, it's just really all about the Enchantress movements now for LFY's early game. The other lane matchups, though, look like the DK as we were seeing before. He's doing okay. Well, yeah, just going fully ham on this bot lane. They won't quite get the kill, but really putting the pressure on. Yeah. Like Nahaz was saying, the DK versus OD matchup isn't as OD dominant anymore. Okay. DK just, you can't die. You just really cannot die. You take no damage in the matchup. And then Brew versus Tiny. Tiny wins this one, but Brew, of course, got some help at the start. I mean, can we expect to see Newbee send anyone over towards the mid lane to try and help, or is it not really worth trying to harass a DK? Nah, it's no point. No. I think just shut down the Troll is the main objective. That's their only true carry, you could say. DK can transition in a way, but I think it can be very hard. I like the point, even though it's not a massive point, I like the thing that Cap said as like a joke. The hammer at one point in this game is going to be massive. There's like no real int cores. They're all just 2 strength cores and an agi core. These guys are going to get eaten by the OD's ulti. What lanes we haven't talked about too much. This top lane, Mugi versus Inflame. CS at the moment, 9-3 on the Brew, 9-2 on the Tiny. Pretty even. Is this expected? Do you reckon we're going to see someone sort of take a lead on this top lane? I would imagine Mugi, but it's really up to those rotations from the Enchantress. So we'll see that already start punishing the Tiny a little bit. Down bottom. Another go on to DDC with a Thunder Strike down on him. Body blocks from Kaka. That's going to be another kill for Newbee on this bottom lane. The third kill in 3 minutes. This bottom lane is just falling apart for LFY with this aggression from Newbee. I really like this approach that they did, right? They picked this bounty super early, and then they look at the lanes, and they're like, what can bounty really do to DK and Brewmaster? Not a whole lot, right? So their decision is, let's go aggro tri-lane and we'll just punish this troll rather than have our bounty just kind of run around Invis and be a non-factor. This is a really cool approach. Yeah, and it's an approach that I think if you're LFY, you definitely would have expected. Exactly. Would you have expected this aggressive tri-lane of a Tide disruptor bounty? It's something very different, but it's absolutely getting the job done. Again with the control onto Monet. Is he going to get himself out? He does have the whirling axe and turns towards Kaka. Kaka will fall, but again it is Monet going down once again. So many deaths for LFY in this bottom lane. At least they get a little something in return, but... So LFY's they're focusing more on just the Brew. So Tiny, like we said, he usually should have a little bit of a better matchup versus the Brew, but double Satyr creeps definitely going to influence it quite a lot. There we go, and with the blast, Kaka is there. Fu's got the heal coming. Another blast will connect onto Mugi. Still not quite enough damage, but certainly trying to amp up the pressure onto this Tiny, keeping him on his toes and maybe forcing some of that pressure away from the bottom lane, getting Newbee to react in some sort. Actually, one of the potential downsides is the fact that the levels on the Tide are going to be a little slower. Showing that XP is a little bit behind in XP based on top lane. Inflame will be taken down. The toss from Mugi, throwing Kaka on top of them. Again, this Kaka, he just knows where to be. And
he's going to get the Satyr too. My God, he's actually making every right move in this game so far. Last hits are still okay for LFY though.
They are. Monet he's not as far behind as you may expect with the deaths that have sort of been brought upon him. He's 18 for 5. It's only a fair few, only a few behind the cores elsewhere on the map. So.
Definitely a big deal though, because it's a Tidehunter who's going to get very early arcane boots, and there, look at Fate's build. I mean, we saw Fate's build. He did the 2 in Thunderstrike, so they're just going to be spamming these nukes on Monet and putting tons of pressure on him, as we see.
And he's just got to be glad that Kaka wasn't there. And surely with a third, they would have really threatened Monet's life once again.
Yeah, and the OD, SCCC actually got enough of mana procs that OP went to jungle for a bit. So I was kind of curious. And we see a courier sniping ward placed there by Kaka. So you will see the courier delivered toward mid.
He isn't going to head back for it. Looks like he's more interested in heading straight down towards the bottom. But the other two are a little far away. Mid lane, OP popping the Dragon Form. We'll see how much he's able to get done with this, if he's able to shut the lane and get a little bit of damage maybe on the tower. Will be hard with SCCC still standing his ground there on the OD. So it looks like they're just using it to try and have a bit of an easier time of getting some CS.
Looks like there's a split up top. They're starting to get the pressure going on here to Mugi. They should be able to bring this one down with the Wildkin slow.
Fu moving in with the Wild Wing there. It's going to be a kill on to Mugi. Bottom lane, Kaka set up. 3 of them joining forces once again. They're shoving the lane in. See if they want to go and look for a dive here. Did you see a little low? We'll be able to brain tap himself back up. Okay, starting to move forward. They've got the creeps diving in as well, so this is a good opportunity for Newbee to go for these aggressive sort of plays. Are there going to be any sort of reactions? Yes, there'll be a TP in from the DK. OP still got a bit of time left on the Elder Dragon form. KP has been left behind, and that's exactly what LFY need to do. You know, Newbee, as strong as they are in that tri lane, if they go for those sort of plays, TPs are guaranteed to come in.
That was a very ambitious one too. There's a Troll Warlord. He has 11 wand charges when they were initiating that. So I think it was pretty tough for them to actually go for that kill. But Kaka's still putting a lot of pressure. He's forcing a lot of moves. He's going to force these supports to buy tons of sentries and dust and stuff to be able to react to him. There's a concern. And again,
they managed to catch him. Off the stick charges. Kaka's there as well, looking for the hit, but he can't quite get the hit.
He got the miss from the axes, so he did get the Janata slow.
Yeah.
Rough.
Mane will survive. I mean, and how much of an issue is it? I sort of picked up on this earlier. Because they are running this tri-lane, the XP's being split up. You've got a level 7 off-lane brew on one side, and what KP at the moment, what's he sitting on the Tide? He's only level 4. Is that, or are you not too fussed about a Tide having to get these early levels? Is it worth sort of the trade-off? You've managed to put a bit of pressure onto the Troll, but you aren't getting the levels. Like, are you happy with that?
I think that dive really hurt them, to be honest. They are pressuring the Troll, but yeah, like the supports even on their side aren't really that super leveled. Faith is level 3, Bounty Hunter is only level 4. If you look at the supports on the side of LFY, they're the same, if not ahead. So I think if anything, LFY may have actually come out ahead somehow in this. At least they look like they're doing really well in 2 lanes, and only 1 bad lane for them.
Oh, here we go, mid lane. Faith is coming to try and help out the OD. Is sort of as soon as he sees this aggressive play coming, but he's going to pay with his own life. OP not going to be gone upon by Kaka. Kaka knows he hasn't got quite enough damage to take down the DK. In fact, DDC will be the focus instead. So Newbee.
Oh my, this OD has 30 stolen int already.
You've got to be careful. If you come in range of this boy's right clicks.
Yeah. He doesn't have the ulti skilled up, but I think at level 8 he might actually just choose to grab it if he has this ad. It's still stolen.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it's such a good game for the Sanity's Eclipse.
Yeah.
In terms of potential damage. As you can see on the net worth, so
he's got to be careful in mid.
Behind.
SCCC does get the ulti skilled up. It looks like he was trying to go for a kill, but decides not to go for the dive.
Kaka, of course, with the plays that he's made good money 8 minutes in. He's got the urn complete.
Yeah, I mean, he's having a hell of an impact on this game.
Yeah.
2, 2, and 4.
As soon as he can get his level 6 as well, it's the potential for chase. You know, having that vision. I mean, as you mentioned down the line, the Hurricane Pipes is going to be really nice, but also just for sort of the toss potential, meaning that you can always close the gap.
And glimpse.
And glimpse, of course. Yeah, the catch is very, very strong on Newbee's lineup.
The catch in team fight is very strong. As long as they can get the vision in the team fight, which they technically should. They should be able to scout the brew, get those disruptor ultis on top of him. So that's probably the biggest concern for me for LFY is if Faith gets an early level 6 on this disruptor, it can really just mess with their LFY. So it looks like it's going to be a BKB rush on the Dragon Knight, by the way. That's what he had queued up.
Okay.
We saw for a moment.
I mean, it's understandable against Newbee's lineup. With the BKB, there's very little that Newbee can do at all to him in sort of off the back of pushes that are going to be inevitably coming in from LFY. Yeah. They feel that the Tron and TK are ready to start going for the fights.
And look at this. LFY do claim this very early top tower. So that's going to be very nice for them to set up these ganks.
I mean, it's going to be a pretty powerful brew. Inflame sent the farm quite a lot from the laning stage. Mid lane, OP getting held in place, so try and turn towards Faith. Does have TPs coming in. There's the hammer being dropped as SCCC will take the kill. Turns towards DDC as well. One more should be enough, and it will indeed. Second kill there for Newbee in the mid lane. Cost them the life of Faith, but certainly worth it. Taking down that DK, especially once he's expended the Elder Dragon form, it's just going to put a whole sort of stop to the momentum that this DK is looking to try and get this game.
Yeah, it was fresh.
Yeah.
Dragon form. That is really painful. Level 6 already finished up now on the bounty with that book that we saw being bought. So now tracks will be coming out. But still, it's not that bad. We've kind of had some trade-offs coming up. It's pretty much dead even in the net worth.
It really is. I mean, you look at the cores across the map, the off laners, pretty much the same place. A little bit of a difference between the mid laners with that kill, of course, just going to the OG, but it is close. So, I feel like, yeah, considering the way that Newbee did play that bottom lane and the fact that they aren't really ahead, that maybe feels like maybe it wasn't worth it. Maybe it didn't have quite as much of an impact as it seemed to do with the kills that they were getting, because Monet was able to actually recover in farm. And meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Inflame was finding just as much as KP with much less help required.
Did have to keep the Enchantress. I think maybe that was their thought process. They were like, we shut down this troll because we actually can't deal with the Enchantress creeps. Okay. If this Enchantress just comes to our safe lane over and over again with the brew, it's going to have the same effect, and we're just going to be these two idle supports rather than being active. Which, yeah, I'd much prefer them being these active supports in this type of game. So I did like it, and I did like that they put the pressure and then they ditched. So now KP is actually recovered completely on his levels and has a mech finished up on the Tidehunter too. And Monet is, I mean, I don't even know if struggling is the word. Because he's just got phase and he's going for like a Vlad's build. But he's definitely in a world of hurt.
How's Inflame doing on the blink dagger on the brew?
He actually also has a Vlad's queued up, so hopefully they communicate that between the two of them and they don't buy double Vlads.
Surely they won't. I mean, to be fair, we have seen games before where that's happened. I guess it just happens.
He hasn't bought any of the pieces for the Vlad, so I'm assuming he's just going to rush the board. Mid lane. It's getting surrounded.
OP comes forward with the green script very nicely done there from DDC. Coming out to SCCC, not quite enough as KP will come across, able to disrupt it. Goes in with the anchor smash, trying to force back these primal splits. They're diving in. They'll be able to keep the OD alive. And it's Newbee, now with KP on the front lines. He's out of mana. He's getting controlled up by OP and Arfu with the impetus. It's enough damage. Tide taken down as well. They've found two. Mugi gets the toss back onto DDC, but it actually puts SCCC in a bit of a risky position. Takes the brains out and another impetus. That's going to be a double kill for Arfu. And while the TP's coming back through, Arfu continuing to try and go ham. He's now out of mana, and they're a little bit deep now, LFY. The tracks are out. They don't want to give up too many of these track kills, but they already are. It's a double kill for Kaka. Inflame already trying to get himself away from this side. They've got the control onto OP. Still a little too tanky. Now Monet on the troll turns up, looks towards Faith. They've got the slow for the other Dragon Form. Kaka is desperately looking for the kill. He will find it. It's a triple kill for the bounty. OP and Monet do find Faith. Probably the second time that the Disruptor goes down in that fight. He's trying to chase for a little bit more. He does have a toss available, but they don't quite have the vision to get anyone in there. So bit of a overall, I think the numbers actually probably worked out quite evenly there, but of course, as we saw, triple kill for the bounty, track kills, they are going to start to add up at this point of the game.
It looked like a pretty nice win there for LFY till all the ultis wore off and the Disruptor came back, got a nice glimpse into the Static Storm off with his teammates, and it ends up, yeah, like you said, Newbee come out a little bit ahead of that one, getting more experience out, and Kaka is enormous now. I think he actually has a whole
triple kill.
I think he can just buy a full Spirit Vessel right now.
That's got to be one of the, well, at least on a sort of the roaming position, it's one of the quickest Spirit Vessels.
Spirit Vessel versus Dragon Knight is very, very good.
I mean, it's Enchantress as well.
Yeah.
It's
completely nullifying that Dragon Blood health regen.
Destroying, yeah.
That'd be very nice.
So yeah, he's got that out on its way at the moment in the courier.
I do like that OP has this BKB queued up so early though. I do think that that's what they need to be able to just force these towers down.
I think yeah, absolutely has to in this sort of game, especially the way they're playing. But they're going to move forward. Static Storm's down. They've got the Glimpse as well, bringing OP back into the claws of SCCT, and that's going to be OP down. That's why he needs the BKB, as we saw. Yeah. If he has the BKB, he lives there every single time. He's nearly got it, but that's going to put a bit of a slowdown onto it, and they've got another kill as well. DDC taking out more and more track kills, 1k lead to a 3k lead. These team fights continue like this. LFY are going to quickly slip behind.
They're in a big trouble. I think the thing is that they 100% rely on this Brewmaster split to actually have any chance of taking the fights for Newbee, while Newbee don't really rely on their ultis to take fights versus LFY, because they're just like, okay, Brew splits up, they can actually counteract it with the Disruptor ulti. If not, they have their own massive amount of ults. So it's like, if they want, they can just avoid the Brew splits or just fight with all the ultis versus it. It is very tough for LFY.
Look at this. They found themselves the Brew. He does have a power split available, but he's not going to get the chance to use it, or is he? The Ravage comes through. Oh! The last millisecond he's able to get out the ultimate, and now LFY looking for the turnaround. They're moving on to the OD, take down SCCC. There's no Ravage, of course. It's already been expected. Newbee, they're still going to try and come in for the fight. Jump forward. They'll take down Money on the Troll. With the field down, controlling them, but DDC from the sidelines with the Fiend script, holding Mugi in place. Arfu trying to get the damage through with the impetus. Has he got enough mana to do the job? It doesn't look like he has. So now LFY, once again, they're the ones in trouble. Double kill for KP as he picks up 2 with the cleave at the tree. As Newbee get 3. Can they get more? They've got the Glimpse back onto OP. That track vision again setting up so much. And it's a 1k lead to a 3k lead, now a 6k lead. It still continues despite what looked like a good potential, a chance for LFY to turn it around, getting that primal split off, getting the team in place. But it just seems overall, Newbee's lineup is just that little bit too far ahead for LFY to take in a 5v5.
It's just a bit faster is really what it is. And that Brew split, I would say that's a very lucky chance that he got it. Those misses, there was like, I don't even know how many misses from the OD on him there, but now this Brewmaster that they put a lot of their like their eggs in this basket, and he's not really having that much of an impact now. And they really depend on him.
He has got a Ring of Basti and a headdress. Was he building the Vlads and then he saw that there was
he was. He had it queued up.
And he's seen that it's on the Troll now. So, I mean, when you see stuff like that, you got to ask what's going on with the communication on the team.
Yeah.
That is...
I mean, also, look at the net worth, and let's take a look at where Bounty Hunter is right now.
Oh, yeah.
He's actually ahead of everybody on the side of LFY. That is absurd. Kaka is destroying this game.
I've not been able to cast Newbee in a while, but there was definitely a period where Kaka Bounty Hunter was like, it was banned a lot, wasn't it?
Yes.
In the past, there's been periods of time where Kaka's Bounty has certainly been something to worry about.
He's like Sanking and Bounty, I think.
Yeah, these roaming heroes that he can have a really good impact with on the early levels, like a Bounty or a Sankin. This is quite the sight to see in Inflame.
Oh, they find Inflame instantly. Look at Faith. Look at the way they changed the priority.
And they're not just going to get one. They're going to get DDC as well for sure. There's 4 heroes surrounding him. This is going to be 2 more kills for Newbee as they are getting very quickly out of control, as it seems. I mean,
and look at this top lane. We see on the meme. Kaka is stalking Monet. He's coming up there. Should be an easy pickoff here. Yep.
This is getting pretty brutal.
It actually looks like LFY doesn't have a direction now at this point. Because like Alan was mentioning, like Nahaz was mentioning on the panel, they want to group up and take these towers with Brew Split and Elder Dragon form, but they're just getting outpaced. They don't have time to do this, and their lanes are being shoved in constantly. Newbee's making the better moves overall, and Kaka's owning this game.
Oh yeah, and I think as you said, it really is to go back down to that start. The fact that the Troll he can't recover because it was an okay place, but he wasn't in as nearly at the position that LFY would have hoped to when they pick a Troll in this sort of lineup. Because I mean, the Troll it was the 5th pick, right? Wasn't it from LFY?
It was.
So that they had a plan, but their plan definitely did not take into account this laning situation from Newbee, and now the pace that Newbee have got because of the fact that Monet desperately trying to catch up. And I mean, having a Vladimir's and a half in their team's collective, it's not great for LFY. Things they need to be a little tighter, especially when going up against Newbee.
I mean, when this Bounty Hunter is level 12 and your safe lane Troll Warlord is also level 12 and he has higher net worth than your Troll, you're definitely not feeling confident anymore. Kaka trying to get the chase here, but
got KP and Fame.
Get the glimpse now.
Got the glimpse and he does get the split off just in time. A bit of an interesting one because he gets the split and it still goes back into the thing with Kaka. is going to get stunned.
Now LFY has to run though. They're just going to all feed after this
I
one.
mean, this is the problem. As soon as they have to be forced to use the split like that, they just can't take the fight. They have to take fights on their own terms. And when there's the full 5-man of Newbee here, LFY Zeros just don't stand a chance. OP pops the BKB, but it's just going to allow him to get a bit of distance as he has to run back. They've got a TP in from Monet, but in plane, the primal split finishes. He's down as well, and these are more and more track kills. Ravage comes in from KP. I mean, it feels like this game may be over.
It's over. Yeah, they just call it actually.
It really is. Newbee.
Okay.
It wasn't a close one. We said at the start it could be a close one. I'm sorry, this absolutely was not close at all.
It was even across lanes, and then they just hemorrhaged those kills. The mid lane went relatively even, then they overextended a bit. Newbee got some big track kills, and then they ran mid again. Got like, what, it was actually 3 fights in a row that Newbee just dominated them. It went from a 1K lead to a 4K lead, to a 6K lead, to a 10K lead, and then the game just ends abruptly. I think they outpaced them. I think Kaka actually just ran this game.
I think you got to be scared of Kaka's bounty hunter in this lap. If he comes out with a game like that to open up, you've got to be very worried about letting that bounty hunter